Hello, and thanks for watching the upgrade video for Airlock Gateway 8.4. I am Michael Dujak, and I have with me Stefan Dietiker. We're both product managers at Ergon Informatik, and we take care of our product, the Airlock Gateway, and the newest release 8.4. In this release, we've added quite a few new features, and I'm going to talk about the Airlock Anomaly Shield. Stefan's then going to take over and talk about the brute force protection, some improvements on the OpenAPI spec enforcement, REST API extension, and some miscellaneous features. So let's get started with the Airlock Anomaly Shield. As you know, the Anomaly Shield protects you against unknown attacks and automated attacks, and we've made it a little bit easier to use the Anomaly Shield, especially in the beginning. If we're honest, we knew since the start that it just takes way too much effort to get the Anomaly Shield set up in the first place. There is this 35 days waiting period for the Anomaly Shield to collect enough data to train models properly. There is the manual configuration. Yes, we've improved that with the new default triggers and default rules, but there's still quite a bit of manual configuration required. Some people actually see a risk because it works in production only, and the misconfiguration could lead to problems with production data. And last but not least, the interpretation of the results is not very simple. With 8.3, we've added new dashboards for the Anomaly Shield, and now we've improved the integration. I'm not claiming that the new things that we've introduced will resolve all of these issues, but it should make your life a lot easier. But let's talk about it. We've added what we call the quick start for the Anomaly Shield, as you can see from the screenshot here. You just go onto Anomaly Shield, and if you haven't turned it on, if you have no app configured, then instead of the normal please add some Anomaly Shield application page, you will see a page that says quick start, and with a few clicks you're actually there. You have the Anomaly Shield set up and ready to run in production. Let me talk about the details. Well, the first things you get with the quick start is a mapping recommendation. We're using heuristics on your mappings. We analyze them, and we propose to you the 5 top most likely mappings that will profit from being protected by the Anomaly Shield. This should make the initial configuration a lot easier, because everything, all the Anomaly Shield applications, all the mappings, all the triggers, all the rules is automatically configured. You don't need to do anything once you've decided if you're going to like our proposal of mappings or not. The training will start immediately. It will not wait to collect data for 35 days, but really start immediately. What you get is you get models that are a bit less effective from the true positives. You're only getting about 60%, maybe 65% of the true positives, but we continue with a false positive rate as close to 0 as we can get it. So even though the models are not as effective as they could be once you have 35 days of data, they're still a lot more protective than no models at all. So I really recommend that you try it out. The whole thing is set up to work in log only. So from the beginning, if you're using the automatic configuration, there's nothing that can go wrong, because we're enabling everything in log only mode, and it will remain so regardless of whether you're licensed or not. And don't forget, with the new quick start, there is no license required. It will turn on the Anomaly Shield in log only mode, and it'll do everything with one exception. It will not protect you from attacks. It will not block IP addresses or destroy sessions. And all of this you can achieve in less than 5 minutes. Now, I've done it a few times. I can do it in under 1 minute, so I'm sure even with reading all the pages of information that we provide, you can do it in less than 5 minutes. That's the quick start with Anomaly Shield, which should allow you to take a look at the Anomaly Shield without too much hassle. And one last thing, once the configuration is done, on the Anomaly Shield overview page at the bottom, there is a link. If you click that, you get directly to the Anomaly Shield dashboard, just for your convenience. So you can even start interpreting data a lot more easily than before, when you had to select for the correct or search for the correct dashboard. Now, one additional thing that we've improved is we've added enhancements to the query parameter model. The problem with the model was that we really only worked with query parameters. Now we're also working with body parameters. And as you well know, many attacks target exposed web forms, and it's really the body parameters in those web forms that we're interested in. I did a little bit of research on the OWASP top 10, and of the 10 OWASP top 10 attacks, about 6 can actually profit from exposed web forms in some form or other. It's not just the injection attacks and the identification and authentication failures, but many other attacks also can profit from exposed web forms, and that's why we decided that exposed web forms are a problem, so we're going to protect them. We're analyzing with the Anomaly Shield how many parameters somebody is supplying and how many values they're supplying on a particular body parameter. And this anomaly detection on forms works on any type of form. It's not just a login screen, but any type of form that actually is exposed by your application is now going to be protected by the Anomaly Shield should you decide to enable it. What are the properties of the parameter model? Well, the name's unchanged. It's called query parameter model, even though it now includes body parameters. We didn't think it was worthwhile to change the name. It works well in authenticated sessions, and there is no problem with that. It's actually one of the better models because most of the automatic detection, they work well when users are not yet authenticated because you have very few bots in authenticated context. There is no configuration required. As with the old query parameter model, the model does everything itself with the training, and it will adapt itself to your applications. So there is no requirements there that would make your life cumbersome as an administrator. We have special code that protects power users against the query parameter model. Normally power users work for hours on end, whereas regular users maybe only spend 5 or 10 minutes on your website. So power users are much more likely to use more values in parameters, or even that use more parameters overall, but we have added additional protections to make sure that power users are not untowardly disturbed by the query parameter model. There's an overload protection that goes into the other direction. If bots or attackers try to overload the model and confuse it, we have overload protection built in, so that should not happen. And last but not least, we of course tried it on whether it is effective against password spraying and credential stuffing, and we found that yes, it is very effective against those two attacks. But as I said initially, but it will protect any type of form that you're exposing on the internet. Now, one last word on the migration. If you're upgrading to Gateway 8.4, then the cold DB will be automatically upgraded. You don't have to do anything with that, but the models won't. They still require retraining, so you have to go into the Anomaly Shield. You have to start the model training manually, and you have then, once the models are trained, to activate and enforce those new models. For the QPM model, we have to have an exception that you need to remember. The QPM model requires 35 days of data to train. There's no way how we can work around that because the parameters that you're using are really application specific. There's nothing we can do to supply that. What we recommend is that you enable automatic retraining and enforcement. And once you do that, then after 36 days, Anomaly Shield will automatically detect that it now has the full 35 days of data. It will automatically train and it will automatically enforce it, and the QPM model will be there without any further hassle to you. So that's it from my side on the Anomaly Shield, and I'm now handing over to Stefan Dietiker, and he's going to start his part of the presentation. Stefan, it's now up to you.
Thank you, Mike, about the latest insights about Airlock Anomaly Shield. I'd like to continue about other features of Airlock Gateway 8.4. Airlock Gateway has been extended to protect your web forms against different attacks. The capabilities to protect web forms have been extended. The new feature, Brute Force Protection, provides defense against the following attacks. Credential stuffing. This is when an attacker uses a list of compromised usernames and passwords to check which credentials are still valid. Password spraying. This is when an attacker uses a common password with different usernames and checks whether some of these users are using this password. Dictionary attack. This is when an attacker uses a list of passwords to attack a single user and check whether one of the passwords in the list is valid. The brute force protection feature can also be used for other web forms, such as contact, registration, or password reset forms. The configuration of this feature is available in the Advanced tab of the mapping. The log-only mode allows to enable the feature and fine-tune the settings without any worries. The feature to enforce OpenAPI specification files has been extended in Gateway 8.4. The OpenAPI specification feature supports now path conditions for a specific specification file. This way, an OpenAPI specification file can be configured with a path condition within a mapping. This allows to simplify the Airlock Gateway configuration and reduce the number of mappings. Since it is easier to configure and oversee the configuration, it allows to harden your application even further and improve security. The following screenshot illustrates the configuration within one mapping. We see that different OpenAPI specifications are enforced depending on the entry path. The existing REST API has been extended to automate even more of your configuration tasks. Many customers love our REST API to automate typical configuration tasks at scale. A new REST API endpoint allows to import an Airlock Gateway configuration with the same functionality available as in the configuration center. Additional REST API endpoints have been created to configure custom deny rules and request and response actions globally or within a specific mapping. The following screenshots show the wizard in the configuration center, which is started after the configuration import. The same options are now available over REST API when importing a configuration. The screenshot on the top shows global custom deny rules. The one on the bottom, the usage of the global custom deny rule within a mapping. With Gateway 8.4, it's possible to automate that. The global as well the mapping configuration. The default request and response actions can be enabled or disabled globally. In the mapping, they can be inherited, enabled, or disabled. Gateway 8.4 provides now REST API endpoints that allows to alter the request and response actions. Since many years, we are running a bug bounty program on HackerOne, where hackers from around the globe can attack web applications and APIs through Airlock Gateway. They report their findings, which helped us to improve the deny rules and filters. Besides the already mentioned improvements, Airlock Gateway 8.4 has some more new features. In addition, we provide you some other small improvements. Password support for an external Redis. The cserve cookie has now the same side attribute set to strict. The default response header allow list has been updated. The maximum connection lifetime is configurable. Rewrite variables can be used in ICAP service path patterns. The following breaking change were required to improve the product. A bug in Airlock Gateway we fixed requires all administrators to manually check the ICAP path pattern after upgrade. After upgrading, a validator will raise an error and mention the affected mapping. The administrator can click on the affected mapping to check the path pattern. Verify the configured path pattern and adjust if required. After removing the regex comment, the validator error message for this mapping will disappear. I'd like to thank you for your attention and say goodbye.